I'm not even sure how to start this without just shaking my head a little, because this NASCAR weekend gave us not one, but two major storylines that could seriously shift how people are talking about the sport right now. And I mean that. One of them is the kind of moment that makes you sit up and say, wait, did that really just happen? And the other, it might quietly shape the future of NASCAR in a way fans have been asking for years. This is one of those rare weekends where you get both sides of being a fan. The emotional, history-making side, and the big picture question of where the sport is heading next. And trust me, that first story, it comes with a reaction nobody saw coming, and fans are already going back and forth about it. So yeah, we've got a lot to get into today. But before we jump in, if you're a real NASCAR fan, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. This is a brand new channel, NASCAR Nation Report, and we're pushing toward our first 10,000 subscribers, talking racing the way fans actually feel it. Alright, let's get straight into it. Let's start with the first story, because this one feels like a moment we're going to be talking about for a long time. At Darlington Raceway, the track too tough to tame Tyler Reddick didn't just win, he dominated. And not just a normal kind of domination. This was the kind you almost never see in modern NASCAR. We're talking about an era where the Cup Series is built on parity, tight competition, razor-thin margins, everyone running close together. You don't usually see one driver go out and completely control a race at a place like Darlington. But Reddick did exactly that. And it gets even crazier. He broke a record that had been standing since the late 80s, a mark set by none other than Dale Earnhardt, right in the middle of his prime. Think about that for a second. Darlington is a track that demands patience, precision, and tire management. It's where legends built their legacy, and Reddick just delivered a performance that actually surpassed that level of control and pace. That alone should have been the headline. But then things took another turn. During the post-race coverage, Dale Earnhardt Jr. reacted live on air. At first, it sounded exactly like what you'd expect. He was impressed, just like everyone else. But then he said something that instantly changed the tone. He basically hinted that maybe someone should take a closer look at that car because it looked too fast. Now, yeah, he said it with a smile, but then he doubled down, saying even his dad would have been asking questions seeing that kind of speed at Darlington. And just like that, everything blew up. Now fans are split. Some people see it as classic NASCAR humor, that old-school mindset where if someone is that fast, you joke about it. Others think there might have been a little more behind it, maybe a subtle jab, maybe even a bit of frustration seeing a family record finally fall. But no matter how you look at it, it hit a nerve. And in all that debate, we can't forget what Reddick actually accomplished. He didn't just win a race, he broke a decades-old record tied to one of the biggest names in the sport and stamped his name alongside the legends at Darlington. That's not just a win, that's a legacy moment. Now let's switch to the second story, and this one might not feel as emotional right away, but it could be just as important for the future of NASCAR. Because NASCAR is seriously looking at increasing horsepower across more tracks. For 2026, they've already made a big move, increasing cars from 670 horsepower to 750 horsepower on short tracks, road courses, and even some larger tracks. And this is something drivers have been asking for years. Now, here's where it gets interesting. NASCAR isn't rushing this. According to Mike Ford, they're being very careful, especially with mile-and-a-half tracks, which are already producing some of the best racing right now. And honestly, that makes sense. Teams are constantly improving, and even small changes can completely affect how races play out. So instead of making a huge jump all at once, NASCAR is treating 2026 like a test phase. They'll evaluate how the racing looks with more horsepower at tracks like Darlington, Nashville, and the short tracks, then compare it to what we are seeing on intermediate tracks. And from there, they'll decide whether to expand it further in 2027. From a fan perspective, this is exciting. More horsepower usually means more throttle control, more mistakes, and more driver skill coming into play. Basically, more of what makes NASCAR fun to watch. So when you put these two stories together, it really feels like NASCAR is at a turning point. On one side, you've got Tyler Reddick delivering a historic performance that has everyone debating legacy, dominance, and even legitimacy. And on the other, you've got the sport itself evolving, potentially bringing back more raw, unpredictable racing. That's a powerful combination. Now I want to hear from you. What did you think about Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s reaction? Was it just a joke? Or did it feel like something more? And how do you feel about the horsepower changes? Should NASCAR keep things the way they are, or is this exactly what the sport needs? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one of those conversations fans are going to have for a while. And honestly, from my perspective, that moment with Dale Jr., it didn't feel completely like a joke. Yeah, he smiled, but when you bring up Dale Earnhardt in that context, talking about that kind of speed at Darlington, it feels like there was at least a little bit of real curiosity there. But at the same time, that's just NASCAR culture. If someone dominates that hard, especially at a place like Darlington, people are going to raise eyebrows. That doesn't mean something is wrong, it just means the performance was that impressive. And that's exactly how I see what Reddick did. If anything, all this attention just makes it even bigger. That's how legendary moments start. As for the horsepower changes, I'm all in. Fans have been asking for more power for years. Let drivers actually drive the cars instead of running wide open all the time. And the fact NASCAR is being careful with it? I respect that. Test it in 2026, learn from it, then make the big move in 2027. If they get this right, we could be heading into a version of the Cup Series that feels more raw, more unpredictable, and honestly, more exciting. So yeah, between a historic performance and real changes coming to the sport, NASCAR is in a very interesting place right now. And I'm not gonna lie, that makes what comes next even more exciting.